What's up, guys? And I got Eugene Marchenko with me today. My name is Justin Brock, and this is the Insurance Gurus podcast. And today we're going to chop it up a bit. Later on, we got a cool webinar coming up. Super cool. You know, cool is a word that's losing its cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's not that cool anymore. I remember when I was a kid and my grandmother would be like, "Oh, everything is cool. It's so cool." And she'd make fun of the word. Now I'm like, that's an old word. So a better word is we're going to have a kick-ass webinar.
I like that better.
It's probably a lame word too. But either way, that's what we're going to do. It's going to be talking about trained virtual assistants. But before we get into that, we wanted to talk to you guys about selling Medicare supplements, Medicare Advantage plans over the phone and all of the things that come with that. And I want to talk to Eugene about his expertise in the close, the art of the close.
I would love to help.
Okay, so Eugene, tell me, what is your favorite way to keep people on the phone when you're calling a cold prospect or lead? Let's say lead, maybe they've already been talked to, maybe there's some sort of interest level, but that's still pretty cold.
Yeah.
How do you keep them on the phone, bro? What do you do? Let me say, I'm going to role play with you.
Okay. Well, let me answer it first, and then we'll role play.
Okay.
So it's always important to keep them thinking and engaged when you call them. So you can call them for whatever reason you want, as long as you say, "I'm giving you a call back." That's the very first things that I say. What happens is they start thinking like, well, who's Eugene? Why is he giving me a call back? And you get their mind engaged first, because normally they're going. They got grandkids, they got somebody at the door, they got their husbands just coming in from work or whatever the case may be, and they have so much going on. Oh shoot, a telemarketer called. They don't even turn their brain on. This automatic click, and so hey, this is Eugene giving you a call back, and they're like, oh okay, and so then it's just always keeping them engaged through the entire conversation, and you want to make sure that they're doing most of the talking.
Okay. All right. Ring. Hello?
Hey, Justin?
Yes.
Hey, Justin, this is Eugene giving you a call back. I don't know if you remember, you spoke to my assistant about the information you're getting in the mail about your Medicare enrollment. Do you remember that?
I think I've spoken with a few people.
You're probably getting a bunch of phone calls.
Yeah,
and
but
stuff in the mail.
Honestly, to be honest, I think I already have it taken care of.
Okay, all right. Well, that's not the reason for the call. The reason why I was calling is to go over everything that Medicare has been sending you. So even though you have everything taken care of, you want to make sure that everything works the way it's supposed to work. Now, where are you in the process of going through the information you've been getting?
I had talked to a broker down the street, and I'm supposed to go back and just pick out the final plan and company.
Okay. Why, if you don't mind me asking, why haven't you done anything yet? You said that you've already met with them once. Why haven't you done it on the original? What kept you from making a decision?
I guess it just not to the point where I had to make a decision yet, because it's still a couple of months away.
Okay. Well, normally what I do is whenever I talk to people like you who are new to this process, is we want to make sure that we don't leave any stone unturned. So what I'm going to do is just ask you a few questions, so that way I can understand exactly what you talked about, and then maybe give you a few pointers that you can probably take back to whoever you've been working with. And at least this way, you get some free education out of it. Now, how much do you know about Medicare now?
I just know that I don't want to not be able to go to my doctors and hospitals. And I know there's a couple of different options, and one of them, I think a supplement, lets me go to my doctor or hospital.
Okay. Well, how much do you know about Medicare Part A and Part B?
I don't know much about that.
Okay. So normally, and this is what my concern would be with whoever you're working with, is that would be the first step that you want to talk about, not supplements, not Advantage, you don't want to talk companies first. So you said you wanted to go back to whoever you're working with so that way you can sign up. But before you do that, you really have to know how Medicare works. So why don't you do this? Go ahead and grab a pen and paper and just write this down so that way you at least know the basics of how Medicare works. So that way you can understand which supplement would be best for you and then, or Medicare Advantage, depending on what your situation is. But what I do with folks like you is before we talk about supplements, before we talk about Medicare Advantage or drug plans or all the 50,000 pieces of information you've been getting in the mail, the first thing we have to understand is how Part A works, Part B works, what is Part C, and what is Part D.
Okay. Okay. Well, would it be okay if I called you back like tomorrow when I'm a little bit freer because we're about to sit down for dinner?
Yeah, that's great. Do you mind if I ask you just a few questions so I'm a little bit more prepared for our call tomorrow?
Sure.
Okay. So have you gotten your Medicare card in the mail just yet?
Yes.
Okay. And did you get your red, white, and blue Medicare new guide in the mail?
No.
Okay, so that's the first thing that we're going to need to get to you so that way you have it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to email it to you, and then I'll send you a quick text message to make sure you got it. And then we can schedule an appointment so that way I can call you back tomorrow. Now, normally when you do this kinds of, have these kinds of conversations, are you doing them by yourself or does your spouse typically help you?
If he's around, we go through it together, but I handle all the finances.
Is he he's still working?
Yes.
Okay, what does he do?
He's a truck driver.
Oh, wow. Okay, so he's usually never home.
I don't know why I assumed I'm the woman in this conversation because you called me Justin. What does that say about me?
I said anyway, Justine.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, so there, notice how I don't really care what Justine is saying, right? And of course, I'm listening, but I don't deviate from my script. Open-ended questions. Cool, you're working with somebody. You can use that towards your advantage because you want to solidify the relationship with you, knowing that you have them know or understand that you know more than whoever they're going to be working with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I liked, when you get some of these objections, like you get to the group health conversation. That was when we were dealing with an agent in here yesterday, getting to the point where they say, well, I still have group health and I guess I'm going to keep that. And Lustig had a point of saying, okay, well, here's what we can do. Well, let me ask a couple of questions about that group health. Then we'll put a pin in it and pretend that you're going to go on and use Medicare as your primary and navigate that. And then by the end of it, you'll know what that looks like so we can actually compare those two. Yeah. And then it allows you to get past a hurdle and then keep on going through the script because you got to get the pitches down. And that doesn't mean you're not going to spend 25 or 30 minutes with somebody and still not get them.
Right.
But it's better to spend the 25 or 30 minutes and get better and better and better and better at what you're doing. So
especially when you're brand new.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd rather you sit and pivot, get all the way through that pitch with somebody who does have a good group health option so you can practice that pitch in a real scenario. It's one thing to practice a pitch with in role playing. It's a whole nother thing to talk to somebody on the other end of it. You get a lot of different variants. I'm not saying that, Justine would have said, I don't have time for this. I don't want to deal with this over the phone. I don't trust anybody over the phone. Goodbye and hang up. That kind of happens. So it's just part of the numbers, whatever.
I had somebody say that to me one time and I had the recording and I'm like, well, how would you prefer to do business? She's like, I want somebody to come see me. I'm like, you do realize we're in 2021. She's like, well, yeah. I'm like, with technology and computers. Well, yeah, but I just feel more comfortable. I'm like, well, what happens if you go to the bank and you have a question? They're going to put you on the phone in the bank with customer service. It's not like I'm going to take a horse and buggy and come see you. And my assistant, she was in the office and she's like, I can't believe you said you're going to take a horse and buggy to come see her. I never got the sale, but she laughed it.
Yeah. She at least broke down a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the art of the phone sale should not even be necessarily about getting the sale every time. If you focus on getting the conversation started and making them your friend and letting them them let you educate them on some things, the sales will come in the volume of it. That's why when I talk to people, I don't say this is how many numbers I want you to call it out. This is how many conversations I want you to have. And the conversation requires, a 5-minute phone call at least. And then if you get into those conversations, then I can go back and listen to the conversations you have and figure out where you went wrong. Yeah. Versus if you just call a bunch of numbers and you give up on every single objection, it's hard to work through that because you didn't even try to stay on the phone with.
Yeah, you can't be so quick to fold And that's the thing, keep them engaged, keep them talking. Well, I already made a decision. Well, what'd you decide on? Well, it's none of your business. I'm like, well, I know it's none of my business, but you're so confident in the decision. Sell me on why I should stop talking to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we're going to have a little break here. We'll hear from Heartland National, one of our great Medicare supplement and hospital indemnity carrier partners. We'll be right back. Now a word from our sponsor, Heartland National Life Insurance Company. Guys, when I talk about Heartland National Life Insurance Company, I get pretty passionate because those guys have been so good to us in our endeavor to better serve our clients with fully customizable hospital indemnity plans to go along with both ACA and Medicare Advantage plans successfully. I'm looking at the notes. I had to break script, but it is important to note that Heartland National provides competitive Medicare supplement options and hospital indemnity plans in 36 states. That's 36 states where you're going to have a product selection with this company. And this company was started by an agent with the agent in mind. It's very important to know that because when you're out there producing, sometimes it feels like you're not thought of by the insurance company. But this product is thinking of the consumer and the agent alike. It makes it really easy for us to do our job, covering more risks, getting compensated like we deserve, and making sure that our clients have the coverage they need. Head over to BobbyBrockInsurance.com/Heartland, BobbyBrockInsurance.com/Heartland to get set up with access to these products immediately. You're not going to regret it. Thanks, guys, for watching. All right. Well, that spokesman for Heartland National sure is handsome. But okay,
Piece of art.
Piece of art. We are going to get back into it and talk about a couple of different, pieces of the phone call that are important. And so I'm going to skip on past, someone let me educate them. And we're getting to the point where they're completely educating. Some things are clicking and in their head, I think they feel like they should have a good understanding of what they want at this point. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we're going to talk to Eugene about how to pivot from the close. So we'll pick back up where I'm Justine. Well, that is great information. I really appreciate you taking the time to educate me.
So what I'm going to do, Justine, is I'm just going to do a quick summary of the call. So that way we're on the same page and make sure we didn't miss anything. So we talked about part A and part B, and what that looks like. And you had decided based on your situation and with your husband's travels and being a truck driver, and sometimes you just going on the road with him, going all over the country, that you'd said that a Medicare Advantage plan with its with its networks and its restrictions to the network, that you'd feel more comfortable going with the Medicare supplement route. We talked about the different Medicare supplements. You decided you don't want a copay, so Plan G is the direction that you want to go. So you've basically decided you want original Medicare, you want a Medicare supplement Plan G. So what the next steps look like is actually pretty simple. What we do is we take your information that I have here and we send it over to whatever company you decided, and they're going to set up what's called a crossover benefits. And what happens is Medicare is going to be primary, the Medicare supplement is going to be secondary. You're going to get your cards in the mail, and then you'll be done with the entire process. So do you have any questions about anything that we talked about so far between all the companies, between A, B, C, D, all that?
Well, when do I need to do this by?
You can do it whenever you want. I have all the information right here. I'm pretty much finished up with everything that I need to do. So I just need to confirm a few more pieces of information, and I can send it to the company, and you can just get this monkey off your back.
Yeah, I just don't want to start it too early because my Medicare doesn't start for a couple of months, and I don't want to be paying for something too long.
Yeah, well, the good news is even if you've made your decisions and you've got everything in the mail, you don't have to pay for anything until it's ready to go into effect. So it looks like here you're turning 65 in June. Is that right?
Yes.
What day in June?
June 1st.
June 1st. Okay. And you said that you did not get your Medicare card yet?
I did get it.
You did get it. Okay. Go ahead and look at your Medicare card. How does your name appear on your Medicare card?
Let me get it.
Okay. And that's my close. Yeah. And that's my close.
Me going through my purse. Perfect. Yeah. So
very assumptive.
Yeah.
Very not. I mean, they don't have to pay for anything now, anyways. Now, at the end, I'll say, well, once I collected all the information, and you're always verifying and confirming, not asking. You're never taking, right? You never say, what is your social security number?
Yeah.
That's very defensive. And so what I would have said then is I would have said, well, what's your Medicare number? How does your name appear on your Medicare card? Well, let me go get it. Then I'll say, well, what is that number?
Yeah.
She's already looking at it, and her brain did not register me saying, hey, can I please have your Medicare card number? I say, what is that number? Like very non-threatening. And then the same thing. Now, does your Medicare card match, the name on your Medicare card match the name on your social? So, well, let me go get it. So she gets her social, and they're like, oh, what is that number? So it's very...
I like to say on the Medicare card, now, how exactly is your name written on your Medicare card?
Yep.
And sometimes, to be perfectly honest, I've completely forgotten the name of the person I'm talking to.
So that helps you remember.
So I say, and how exactly is your name written on your Medicare card?
Tom, Tom. Oh,
Yeah.
I thought maybe it was a common spelling.
Like what? Yeah. So some of those little tricks can help us. So, all right. So when you are calling these people back, so right now you have an assistant that is filling up your calendar, one of the trained telemarketers. And when they're filling up those calendars and you're calling people back, are they scheduling specific times, or are they just sending you leads and you call them when you want?
So I have it's a 2-step process, and I have a few agents that are doing it this way. We have my fronters, if you will. So I have my people who just generate the lead. I want somebody who said yes, they wanted a call back. They are turning 65 within the next couple of months. And before I used to call them a little bit heavier, but now because we're doing more Medicare Advantage now and figured out ways to stay compliant that way, I'm doing less qualifying because now it's just a needs analysis, right? And so I have my appointments, I have my leads that are generated, and then I have a VA go through and basically get them on my schedule. Now, not always. And the reason why I do it this way, when the lead originally comes in and it's hot, it was just generated, I'm the first one to call it. And then if I couldn't get them on the phone, then it gets routed to the VAs and then they call and set the appointments.
Yeah. So I know sometimes you put somebody as an intermediary between the person that kind of combs through and finds the cold leads, the ones that are answering the phones, the ones that are agreeing to some degree to be talked to. Then sometimes as you scale, you put somebody as an intermediary to call all those back and set them up hard appointments or live transfer them to you. And that can drastically reduce the amount of time as you scale that the writing agent, are spending on the phone.
Yeah.
Do you have agents with trained telemarketers doing that right now?
Yes, I have a few trained telemarketers agents that have another layer between the lead and them that qualify it a bit further.
They ask them just a few more health questions.
Yeah, and really it's just so a lot of them are doing T65, but the 65 plus, the few that are doing it, we're trying to not super heavily qualify, but we're asking, now, have you had any kind of major health issues in the last couple of years? Is usually the way we do it. So that way it's vague, but it's still in enough detail to where it's like, well, yeah, I have diabetes, or I just had a heart attack. And then they know, okay, well, based on this answer, can't do anything with it.
Yeah. And, okay, so on the TVA, Tennessee Valley Authority, trained virtual assistants concept on that front, you and I had been talking about this for a while about certain things. So a couple of tasks came up for me that I needed help with based on buying an agency and having a ton of migration data and different things we had to do. And I've actually, to some degree, been critical of the idea of the VA, because I do believe some things are really good to have physical employees. But the more that I talk to different agents and agency owners, these smaller agencies, they have a very difficult time finding and qualifying the first several employees. For me, it gets easier the bigger you get, because you can hire through your warm market and all that. But employees are also very expensive. So there is a good alternative when you're looking at having a virtual assistant. And so in the trained virtual assistant world, when we started having some of these high amounts of time, highly specialized tasks, I wondered if there was a way. And because of your experience with trained telemarketers, you guys were easily able to train some of these people up to utilize CRMs to do all sorts of different tasks.
Yeah.
And it's just looking like a great alternative for a lot of these guys. And we're using a couple of them ourselves for some things we're going to do. So, so tell us a little bit about, that process.
So I started the website in August of last year, and I did a little bit of a soft launch with some of the market that I've already been tapping into with the train telemarketers. And it's really helped those, like if you're an agent that makes 20 hours of calls a week calling your leads, you're not a full-time agent, and there's no excuse as to why you can't do any of the other admin work. But if you want to be selling on the phone full-time, but you can't because you have all these other tasks, social media management, logging in applications, data entry, CRM work, all that stuff that, checking up on approvals, all that stuff that takes you away from the phone and takes you away from actually selling, that's really who it's geared towards more. Data entry is another one, which is what you were talking about before. And really anything that kills your time from growing your business. And when I say growing your business, posting a social media is not a money maker today, right now, that you need to keep the lights on.
Yeah.
And especially if you're at that point where you're writing, 15, 20, 30 Medicare supplements a month, you could be writing more if you didn't have to check approvals, log policies, and do all that other stuff.
Yeah, check approvals, log policies, call for things like you can train people in the enrollment trackers to call for specific things that are on there. Somebody you sign up at 4 months out doesn't have their Medicare card number. Now the company's requesting that they can call, try to get the Medicare number for you. They're calling, from the office of Eugene Marchenko, from the office of Justin Brock. Also, data entry is a big one. But like you're saying, social media management, small time graphic design, all sorts of things that are easy to train somebody in. And they're all easy for you to learn, really. You all can do some small-time graphic design with Canva and post on social media and all that stuff. But then I find there's so many agents that are spending 25, 30 hours a week posting on social media, doing data input, doing all that, and they're one-man shows. If they could outsource that and then, for a marginal cost and then focus that time on selling, they'd make exponentially more money.
You have to be writing business. Like even here, yesterday, I'm in the office, I'm managing train virtual assistants, train telemarketers, data download center. I'm managing all that stuff while I'm making calls. So yesterday, I sold a couple policies here because I know that I still need to produce. I'm a producing agent.
Yeah.
And so yes, I have all this other stuff. And yes, I'm managing people, managing virtual assistants and all that because they're my companies, which you wouldn't have to manage your own. But the point is, you have to be selling, you have to be growing your business, you have to be growing your agency. And if you're finding yourself where it's like, well, I'm going to go on Facebook for 5 minutes to write this post, and then you get sucked into the YouTube or the Facebook hole.
The algorithm.
Yes.
That you now can become a product of the algorithm.
Then now you're 3-4 hours deep into it and you haven't made your follow-up calls on your leads. You need to get away from that.
Very easy. Get sucked into motivational videos. The motivation you need to do, the thing that you're supposed to be doing while you're watching those motivational videos. We'll take just a quick break here, and I'm going to come back and we'll have another little bit. If you have any questions to what we're saying right now, you can put them in comments. You can put them around, and we'll definitely answer your questions as soon as we can. Just a second here. It's time to grow your agency like a guru. Introducing GoGuru Pro. The Go High Level platform allows for minimizing software-based subscriptions and grants control over several facets of marketing and communication. Automate your workflow, communicate with your leads, book appointments in advance, and house all your clients in one secure location. Visit goguru.pro and schedule your one-on-one demo today. Whoa, goguru.pro.
Wow.
Who came up with that?
Whoever did, I love it. This idea is fantastic.
Phenomenal. Imagine having a trained virtual assistant that could do all your data input in there and just itemize all the stuff.
The stars are aligning.
Dude, what if you had a trained virtual assistant you could do your accounting and your QuickBooks management? Eventually, I don't even have to go just to work. Yeah. All I got to do is be the guy that says, oh, you want that policy? Boom.
Sign here.
Well, listen, we talked about, getting the attention on the phone. We talked about the close. one thing I want to do and close this out is talk about what you do after you get the close.
So my favorite part about what I have to do after I close a policy is virtually, pun intended, almost nothing. I move on to my next call. I have some basic things that I do to get that file, that client ready for my virtual assistant. And then the virtual assistant does everything else that I need them to do until the follow-up call, which is the approval call. And I like to do the approval calls because it gives me an opportunity to cross-sell. But what happens whenever a policy is sold is we download a copy of the policy, it goes into Dropbox. There's a bunch of information within the policy. Maybe I collected drugs, maybe I routing numbers, account numbers, socials, all that needs to be transcribed into my CRM. They do all that. It needs to be saved into Dropbox. They do all that. I also, in addition to my CRM, in addition to Dropbox, I also have a sheet, a spreadsheet, Excel file, or Google Sheets file that keeps track of my policies. And that's where I go to see when something was approved. Obviously with T65, very easy. There's no really approval necessary. But on the 65 plus, if I'm replacing a policy and it needs to go through underwriting, I wait until I get the green light. And really what they do is they highlight the sheet in green and they mark that policy was approved. And that's my green light to go in and then call them with their approval.
Nice. Then when you call them approval, like you said, that's when you cross-sell right now.
Yeah. So, and on a T65, they may need, I need to find out whether or not they finally completed a Part B enrollment. I need to find out where they are in getting their Medicare card. Do we need to do a drug plan? Maybe ask them about the dental one more time, because I always do the dental on the first call. But then you did mention that, you brought up dental to me. I just want to make sure I covered that in our first call, even though I know I did, but that's an opportunity to bring that up again. Or when I talk about the party drug plans, that's when I talk about cross-selling to the heart and cancer plans, because, donut holes and so on and so forth. So that gives me the opportunity to do that. And that's why I like to do the approval call. But if you already done that and you sold them everything that you can sell them in the beginning, and all it is just an approval call, just have the virtual assistant call.
Absolutely. Well, I think we're ready to do it. You guys are ready to do it. And if you wanted to go to check out Trained Virtual Assistants, it's just trainedvirtualassistants.com.
That's it.
Trainedvirtualassistants.com. Check it out. If you have any questions, you can also hit up our team and we'll get you connected with Eugene. But it's definitely a win for people who are trying to get off the ground and take some of those tasks off of their own plate. Yeah. Even if you have a couple of team members, it's possible that their time would be better spent doing something else besides the minuscule things, because we have 27 team members now, and I'm still using VAs for some stuff that just doesn't make sense for me to tie up a $15 or $20 an hour employee with.
The feedback has been really good so far, very positive. My favorite part is when the agent sends me an email and says, hey, I have something else that I need handled. Can you train that person on that? So they don't have to do anything except send me an email and say, hey, I have another thing that I come up with that I need to take off my plate.
Yeah. Perfect. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for being here. And this is Insurance Gurus Podcast. Please subscribe. Please like the video if you're watching this on YouTube. And we'll talk to you soon. It's time to train like a guru. GoGuru University is an ever-expanding, cutting-edge, interactive training platform with live weekly coaching calls constructed to train agents efficiently and compliantly. GoGuru University offers a library of training modules explaining Medicare A to Z, face-to-face and telesales training, SEO and other marketing, and much more. Visit goguru.university to schedule your one-on-one demo today.